In the quaint suburban neighborhood of Oak Hollow, Craig and Cathy were the kind of couple everyone admired. Craig, with his disarming smile and easy charm, was the picture of a devoted husband. Cathy, with her sparkling eyes and warm laugh, seemed like the perfect homemaker. They hosted barbecues, attended community events, and always had a kind word for everyone they met. But behind closed doors, their polished exterior concealed a chilling secret. The first disappearance was subtle. Mr. Gibbons, the retired teacher who lived alone at the corner, stopped showing up for his morning walks. His overgrown lawn and newspapers piling up on the porch became neighborhood gossip. "Probably visiting family," Cathy remarked to Mrs. Jenkins during one of their morning coffee chats, her tone so convincing that no one thought to question it further. But that wasn't the truth. Inside Craig and Cathy's basement, a dark ritual was unfolding. Mr. Gibbons, frail but defiant, had been their first victim. It wasn't random. Craig had overheard him muttering disparaging remarks about Cathy's gardening at a block party weeks earlier. And Craig didn't take insults lightly, especially when it came to Cathy. "I didn't mean anything by it," Gibbons had pleaded as Craig loomed over him, Cathy silently watching from the corner of the room, her lips pressed into a thin line. "I'm sure you didn't," Craig had replied, "but actions have consequences." By the time the neighborhood began connecting the dots, strange absences, whispers of missing pets, and a strange metallic smell emanating from Craig and Cathy's backyard, it was too late. The couple had grown more emboldened. What started as a reaction to petty grievances evolved into a twisted game. Craig would pick the targets, those who disrespected Cathy, annoyed him at work, or simply had something he wanted. Cathy, the planner, ensured their actions were precise, leaving no loose ends. They worked together like clockwork, a grotesque symphony of calculated malice. They called it cleaning up the neighborhood, a sick joke between them. They even kept trophies, a locket here, a watch there, tucked away in a hidden compartment in their attic. Each item told a story, a dark reminder of their growing power over Oak Hollow. One evening, as Craig grilled burgers for a neighborhood cookout, Cathy entertained their guests with tales of their recent road trip. Nobody noticed how her eyes flickered with something darker than excitement. Nor did they question why the burgers tasted a bit different. But one guest did. Emily, the teenage daughter of their next-door neighbor, was an aspiring journalist. Sharp and observant, she had been documenting the disappearances in a notebook hidden under her bed. She knew something was off about Craig and Cathy. Their too-perfect demeanor, the odd hours they kept, and the strange sounds she'd heard from their home late at night. She decided to investigate. One rainy night, while Craig and Cathy were hosting their weekly book club, Emily sneaked into their backyard. Armed with only her phone and a flashlight, she slipped through the garden gate and crept toward the basement window. Peering inside, she froze. The scene below was something out of her worst nightmares. Rows of tools stained with rust, or perhaps blood, and a table with something large and lumpy draped in a tarp. Her hand shook as she snapped a photo, but the flash accidentally went off. Inside, Cathy's head snapped up. She looked at Craig, her eyes narrowing. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Craig stood, a knife glinting in his hand. "Stay here," he murmured, heading toward the backyard door. Emily ran, her heart pounding, but the mud slowed her down. She could hear Craig's footsteps closing in, his voice calm yet chilling. "You shouldn't be out here, Emily. It's not safe." She tripped, landing hard on her hands and knees. Before she could scramble up, a shadow fell over her. Craig stood above her, his expression unreadable. The next morning, Oak Hollow woke up to find Emily's house empty. Her parents were gone, too, their car still parked in the driveway. Cathy knocked on the door with a casserole dish, feigning concern, but no one answered. "She must have run away," Cathy said to the gathering neighbors, shaking her head sadly. "Teenagers these days." Craig nodded in agreement, placing a comforting hand on Cathy's shoulder. As the crowd dispersed, Craig glanced back at their house, a small smile playing at his lips. Behind the basement door, Emily's notebook sat on the table, next to a freshly scrubbed knife.